And eventually in the story, he would come face to face with his offenders, with his brothers. And we see that Joseph's response to coming face to face with the people that had wronged him, that sent him into slavery, that probably were the cause of so many painful moments and woes. This is what he says to them. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. And this is in Genesis 50, verses 20. While I know there had to be so many nights where Joseph felt the weight and the temptation to take vengeance, we see in the text a heart posture that we all should adopt. One in which we look to God to clear our name. But while he is doing that, we are seeking to learn what it is that he would have us to learn in the in-between, right? Because if our focus is always our name being cleared up, we will lose sight of the name that is greater than our own, which is Christ. And I'm not saying that we should refrain from telling the truth, but only to the degree that the Holy Spirit leads us. Okay? Because in his timing, he will make all things right. I mean, I need for y'all to think about Joseph, right? It took 22 years from the time that he was enslaved to the time that he would come face to face with his brothers in Egypt. 22 years until he was properly or totally vindicated for what his brothers had done to him. Can you imagine if Joseph decided to hold his breath for those 22 years? He would have completely missed out on all the character development that God was producing from the time that he left Potiphar's house till he was in prison, till he, interpreting dreams. So now he is second below the Pharaoh. Imagine all of the ways that he would have not grown in intimacy with God if he had just been waiting for God to vindicate his name. So please don't buy into the lie that vengeance belongs to you. Because if vengeance continues to stay in your hand, one, you won't handle it properly because you aren't equipped as a created thing to handle it properly. But also, holding it keeps your hand full of vengeance and less of Jesus, which keeps you from growing. Joseph grew during those 22 years, y'all. He wasn't stuck in this bitter state because of what his brothers did. He still leaned into God, and God was with him. Even when his father, throughout all of these years, thought he was dead, y'all. Can y'all imagine someone doing that to y'all? He still trusted in God. And God kept him throughout those 22 years, and to the point where when it was time for vindication, Joseph had a heart posture to be able to lean towards the offenders, his brothers, and have mercy on them. Who knows if Joseph would have been able to do that in year 2, in year 3, in year 4. But in year 22, he was able to show them justice. He was able to show them mercy instead of punishment. And maybe that is the very thing that God is trying to cultivate in your heart. While you are just looking for someone to come and say, you know what, you were right, I was wrong. Maybe God is like, actually, I want to cultivate compassion in your heart. I want to cultivate other-mindedness in your heart. And this is not to say that God does not vindicate, because we already have seen in the text, God said, I will repay.